So here with Katherine McRose. So you came through our school in 2017. Why are you interested in shearing sheep?
I'm interested in shearing sheep because I kind of got into it when I was in high school, as a freshman in high school, and I found that there were a lot of people with small flocks that needed somebody to come out, and large group shears wouldn't do it. So I started in that, and I found a real passion for helping those people and those animals, and I just kind of stuck with it. And I went to school at A&M, but at the end of A&M, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do for a living, and I knew I loved shearing sheep, so I just went for it.
Oh, that's awesome. So, like I said, we've been having this school for 5 years. It is, a really delight for me to have someone who came through the school, goes out, does this full time as a profession, and then takes her time out of her busy schedule to come back and help other people get involved in it. So why else do you come back and help with the shearing school? What brings you back to come help and donate your time?
So honestly, like, my favorite week of the year is the shearing school, because I love coming out here and meeting all these people that are super passionate about getting into the industry. Some people that have grown up with sheep all their lives, some people that have never even touched a sheep, and I think it's so cool that in that time that they can develop such a passion. And I noticed that a lot of our students are coming back every year, and that makes me super excited. Plus, there's nothing like teaching somebody to make you better at something. And even though I've been doing this for 10 years, only doing this method for 4 years, I have so much to learn, and the people that help instruct, they really just make me a better shearer.
Yeah, that couldn't be more true. I've been going to schools for 12 years, and although I don't shear professionally, every time that I am shearing, I'm around people that are professionals at it, and you learn something new every year. So it's really not something that you become an expert at, but it's something that you just continually progress at and get better over time. So what do you think is the right type of skills, mentality of someone who is thinking, hey, maybe I want to go be a sheep shearer? What's the stereotype, if you will, for the type of people that have the type of work ethic and the drive, and how this as a profession would fit them?
So it really just takes a very passionate person. This is something that you can easily fall in love with, and if you are a passionate person, you fall in love with this, it is truly a sport, and it drives you to be better. The days are long and they can be really hard, but if you feel good at the end of the day, when you're tired, when you're exhausted, you feel accomplished, then if you're that kind of person that likes that hard work and feels good about it and likes to help people, really, this is the thing for you. But one thing I will say about being a shearer is you can't have any quit. It's going to be hard, you're going to get frustrated, and if you have no quit, this is exactly the place you need to be.
Yeah, we always remember that time whenever you had the perfect sheep and the perfect weather and everything was great, right? And you have that, convenient, I guess it's not insomnia, but what's the word? Where you just kind of forget all of those really bad jobs where the weather sucked and the sheep didn't shear very well, and just things were breaking, everything was kind of going wrong.
Yeah. I have this one sheep that I've sheared for 8 years now, and it's super old. I had a really bad day one day. All day long, everything was going wrong. I mean, literally, if it could go wrong, it happened to me on that day. And that sheep was the last sheep I shored. The one sheep job, went out to the client's house, grabbed that sheep, and she just laid in my legs, and she just was so happy and relaxed. And as I was shearing up her neck, she just closed her eyes and literally fell asleep in my arms. And something like that can just take a terrible day and remind you why it's all worth it again.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, for the most part, most all sheep shearers really enjoy what they do, and that shows through to the craftsmanship that they take, the pride they take in their work, and how they care for the animals. But every now and again, you'll get someone that maybe doesn't have that passion, and they're a little bit more, I'm not going to say abusive, but just a little bit less attentiveness. They're a little rougher on the animals, and they see that. So I've been to places and sheared where the past crew really didn't take a lot of pride in the animals, and you could tell the animals are really nervous, and then about halfway through, they kind of, oh, this isn't so bad. And then the next year you go back to that same one, they're a little gentler, and they're a little gentler. So the animals see and have an appreciation for people that take pride in their work.
And kind of on that same line, I find that the shearing community it's really small, and everybody knows everybody, and I find that there's a low tolerance for people that don't do good in the industry, that might give the industry a bad name or a poorer name. I find that there's really not a tolerance for that among most of the shearing community, and I like that because everybody's super kind, and we all have a standard that's set, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So if someone kind of runs into a negative campaign towards shearing, say it's don't wear wool because it's they're stripping us off of, which couldn't be any further from the truth, but what would you tell someone like that? What's the reality of this, and why should they have pride in wearing wool or purchasing wool shoes or just using wool products in general?
So you shouldn't ask that question because I'm super passionate on this topic. So I see all the time, you see it on Facebook, you see these people that are very upset with what they perceive the shearing industry to be. And the reality of it is if we stop growing wool, we will stop having sheep. There's no room for all of these animals to not have a purpose. And if we stop growing wool, then the sheep population will dwindle down. And you can't just take a sheep and put it on a pasture and let it live its life with never shearing it, not wool sheep, because those sheep will grow and they grow and they grow. It never stops, it never falls off, and they'll be miserable. So in my opinion, it is way more cruel to not shear a sheep for 5 years than it is to take the 2 to 5 minutes that a shearer takes and to shear it with the fluidity that we have and the care that we take. Nicks happen. That's the reality of shearing. There's always small nicks on sheep. It's inevitable. And as you get better, the idea is to have less of those. And as a shearer, you feel bad. You don't want to nick those sheep. That's the last thing you want to do because you're here to help those animals. And honestly, those little nicks are way better than a full wool sheep in the middle of a Texas summer. And that's my argument, and I stand by it.
All right. Thanks.
Really, yeah.
So, one of the aspects of sheep shearing is sheep. There's not a lot of sheep in the U.S. and they're spread out all across from East Coast to West Coast, from north to south. So, if you get into this trade, you have the opportunity to travel and do this work all over. Where have you been, and what has that done for your career?
So I've probably sheared in 11 states. I started in Texas, born and raised in Texas, and then after that I went to Louisiana, Oklahoma, got into Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Tennessee, done Kentucky and Colorado. Haven't had the chance to do New Mexico. That's the only bordering state I haven't been to, but I spend probably about 90 days on the road and getting to see the most beautiful sides of the country. And what's neat about a job like this is not only do you get to see those places, but you get to meet the people that are there, and that is a real treasure. I know guys that they go to Hawaii to shear, and who would be mad about that? A week in Hawaii, shear some sheep, and then just sit on the sand, and then my dream personally is to make it over to Australia and New Zealand and to shear there. I think that would be incredible opportunity. But you can go anywhere. Ireland, the UK. There's so many cool places that this one skill set can take you. And if you think about it, the northern hemisphere versus the southern hemisphere, we're two different seasons. So everybody wants to shear in the spring. The people here in Texas, we shear in the spring, and then Australia shears in our winter. So it's a perfect combination to stay busy all year if you want to.
Yeah. I've had the really good pleasure of meeting people that come over here and shear in our spring, which will be in the fall, that are from New Zealand or Australia, and the good fortune of meeting people that have sheared 1 million sheep in their life. And the things that they've seen and the places they've been, there's not very many professions that would move you around and allow you to experience that throughout your life. So it's a pretty cool job.
We talked about the community and the family, and that's worldwide. I mean, there's groups on Facebook that you can get onto where they're always looking for shearers. So if you want it, you can see anywhere in the world with something like this.
Definitely. So if you're interested in this, we host a shearing school every year. It's generally the first week in January. We do that because a lot of people in college are just going back. It's at the beginning of our spring in Texas. It's pretty mild weather, so we can shear sheep this time of year. And really look us up. If you have a hard time finding out about it, contact your county agent. They'll be able to get the news releases and get you into contact with us, and we'd be glad to take your application.